Hey guys, Aaron here, back with another video, and today we have got a really, as I knock something over here, I've got a really cool unboxing and sort of cleaning / restoration video for you guys. I don't actually know the exact condition of this. I've seen some photos of this particular video card, but as you can see, this has come all the way from, wrong way, Moscow. So this was actually an eBay purchase I managed to pick up very recently. And, well, the guy was very kind enough, I paid enough for it, so, yeah, he was kind enough to send this express. So he sent this, and it took less than, I think, from the date he sent it to the date that it arrived here was less than 10 days. Usually, any video card that I buy that comes from Russia ends up taking about 30 days, usually because they go by sea rather than air. But anyway, AGP Violi, I'm not sure how he tried to type that, but anyway, AGP video card. And I know that the price that he's written here is actually incorrect. But anyway, so this is actually stamped the 2nd of November. And it's now today, I think, if I'm correct, the 12th. The 13th. So there you go, it's actually the 13th. So maybe it took exactly 10 days. No, because of course, time zone, so he's behind. So yeah, it took 10 days. Give or take. Anyway, that's enough of me talking about this. Let's open this up and show you what this is, because this is a very special video card that I have been trying to find for my collection for an insanely long time. Like years, this card has been on my hit list, to the point where I actually gave up thinking I was never ever going to find this video card. So yeah, let's open it up. Look at that Russian tape. That's cool. My scissors here. I'm going to try to make sure this is in focus, but I'm going to have to manually keep trying because I don't like using automatic focusing on this camera because it goes a bit bananas. So I'm going to have to manually do this. Now, I usually open these video cards and have a look at them before planning to do these videos, because there's no point in me trying to do an unboxing for a video card and doing a restoration video if the video card doesn't need it. It's kind of a waste. It just turns into an unboxing video, which I guess is okay as well, but I like to do my unboxings in a bit of a different way. So, whoa, okay, that's cool. Okay, that I was not expecting. That's a fridge magnet. Wow. Man, I don't know if I did tell him about my YouTube channel. If you are watching this, thank you. This is really cool. I did actually say, I was actually having a good backwards and forwards chat with the guy. Very nice person, actually. Saying that my wife and I actually would love to come to Russia one day for a holiday and check it out. But that's really cool. That's going on the fridge. Thank you very much for that. That's really cool. See, I like good eBay sellers. And by the way, he wrapped this thing really well, by the way. Which is, like, considering it was going express, it wasn't cheap. Okay. Right, now I know I have to do some focusing again. So, camera, focus. I have to zoom in, sorry, when I do this, because otherwise I can't... There we go. Otherwise I can't see how well it's focusing, because my eyesight's bad. Anyway. Chop, chop, chop. I'm kind of hoping to dear God, this is one of those cards that tends to have sensitive components on it. And so, considering what I paid for this, which a few of you in the Discord chat already know roughly what I paid for this because you might have been following the auction, or you might have caught me when I actually mentioned in there what I paid for it. But this to date is basically the most I've ever paid for a retro video card. I paid more for normal everyday video cards that I'm actually using in my system, for example, a lot more than this. But in terms of a collector's item to sit on my shelf and to use every now and then, which I don't know if I will use this one because of how fragile these are, I'm hoping that this thing actually at least works, because I don't have one of these in my collection yet. So, like any card from this range of cards, I don't have one in my collection, and this is the first. I have every card before it, and every card after it, but I don't have this one. Okay. Well, it's in an anti-static bag, so that's always good. Oh god. This was a card that was in also very good condition. Let me just make sure again that this is actually, there we go, in focus. Ugh. So much tape. I'm just going to cut the bag because I'm not going to use it again and I want to get this thing out. Okay, so I'm going to do the back of it first because if you know what it is, you'll probably recognize the back plate of it first anyway. Wow, that's a little bit, it's not as heavy as what I thought it was actually. It's a little bit lighter than I thought. Is there the name of it on the back? No, there isn't. Cool. So you guys still get to guess. I'm going to zoom in though for you so you can see a little bit better here, but I am also going to do that. Yeah, wow, that footage was a bit darker than I was expecting. Sorry, guys. So there we go. Well, I can show you the front of it. Voila. Wow, this is actually in really good condition. For starters, there's no broken capacitors. Hooray! I've had a bit of bad luck lately with a couple of cards that I bought with like broken capacitors down the end here, which is a very common thing for these old cards. So thank you for sending this in a very good packaging, by the way. It's a little bit dusty, but that's because it's been used. But this is in really good condition. The card's straight, which is a good thing. It means it hasn't been like crushed or bent in shipping at all. But it is actually in really good condition. It needs a bit of a clean. There's no scratching on it. The label's there. So, oh, by the way, what is this? If you're looking at this and you're like, oh yeah, that's a cool card, but what is it? This is it's a Gigabyte branded board card, as you can see by the sticker inside of the shroud here. It's actually on the fan, which is on the inside of the plastic. And this is a Gigabyte GT. That's just this particular model of it. This is a Geforce FX 5950 Ultra GT. So why the GT? Well, the normal version of the FX 5950 Ultra runs at, I believe, 475 megahertz on the core. And that was pretty much common for most of them. There was a few that were overclocked to like 480, 490, something like that. This one comes out of the box overclocked at 520 megahertz. Which is actually a quite insane overclock for an FX chip. These things were had such narrow limits for overclocking. So these were cherry-picked, basically binned chips that were on these particular GT cards for this purpose. So now I've been told this card works, doesn't have any problems at all. It's in really good condition. In fact, like even the backplate, there's no rusting on the backplate, which is also common for cards of this age. The backplate's not scratched, like there's no chips or scratches in the paint on here, which means it hasn't been like tossed around and sit on other metal surfaces and stuff like that. My very first glance at the PCB doesn't look like there's any damage. There's no big scratches. There's no rust. Doesn't look like there's any missing components. But yeah, this is actually in really good condition. There's no threading. It doesn't look like the cooler's ever been taken off. Like you can't tell that there's no damage to the screws where screwdriver's been used a lot on it, which is really good. This is immaculate. Now, there's actually been a few FX 5950 Ultras with this reference cooler. So this is actually the reference NVIDIA cooler, which is why you can kind of see, there you go, you can kind of see the NVIDIA reference embossed. This is actually an embossed logo on here. So this is actually the reference NVIDIA cooler design, but Gigabyte decided to use a nice blue PCB, which I really like. This is actually a really nice nice card with this PCB. I have to try and take that sticker off somehow. I might use some Goo Gone or something like that to get rid of that sticker, just to restore it back to its natural. Maybe you'll leave that one on. I don't know. That's 03, 03, 04. Does that sound about right? So I think this is date. I think this is actually a date on here. So this is the 3rd of the 3rd, 2004, which would make sense because that's, this card's from 2003, but it was still being made in 2004, or sold in 2004 at least. So, oh no, so there's actually a date here. So this is one of the, this is actually in Russian too. So this was a card that was actually sold in Russia. by the way, because it was for the Russian market, because it actually has the Russian timestamp on here, which is kind of interesting, which is 2004. It's the 8th month of 2004. So what's that? September, is it? September, October. No, August. I'm bad at calendar. Anyway, this thing's a bit dusty on the inside. It's in very good condition though. There's no rust, by the way, that I can see on the fins, which is really awesome. And let's pull it apart for you guys. But first of all, I want to explain to you how the cooler actually works, just so you guys know as well. So, unlike the FX 5800 Ultra, which had this dual channel like air intake where you had the fan, the blower fan that was in this weird contraption in the middle of here, it actually, the 5800 Ultra sucked air in through the lower part of the cooler from the back, like through here. It sucked air into there, into a chamber, into the blower fan, and then pushed it back out through the little fin array that was up here that was connected by just a couple of heat pipes. And that was all the heatsink that was on the card, and then it went out the back. So naturally, you would end up with hot air going in here and cool air, hot air coming out here and cool air trying to be sucked in here. Now, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to realize how stupid that was. Like, why would you have a really hot card, by the way? The FX 5800 Ultra runs really hot. So you would have hot air coming out right next to where the cold air was going in. Who designed that? That was stupid. Anyway, this one is, I actually really like the design of this. So you would think that, oh, okay, maybe cool air comes in from here and then blown out the back. But actually, it's the opposite. So you might notice that this top part of the chamber here is actually empty, and the fan is down the bottom here. So there's actually a gap above the fan that's inside this little housing here. And that's because the cold air actually comes in through the back. The whole back part here sucks in cold air, sucks it down into the fan, and then blows it through the fin array into the case. So all the hot air is exhausted into the case, which is a really cool design. I like it. It's kind of the opposite of what a blower cooler is these days. But this was actually the best designed cooler that NVIDIA did for the FX range. The 5800 Ultra was shit. The 5900 was shit. This one was actually a really good design. I'm actually interested. I've never pulled one of these apart before, but I like there's like a bracket, like almost like a CPU mounting brace that holds the heatsink onto this little frame that's here. So I'm going to be pulling apart this for the first time ever. So this is going to be kind of interesting. So I guess what it's time for is cue the music montage, and let's get to pulling this apart, shall we? Yeah! start.